So I was ready to do another angry rant on somebody when I just saw something trending that was like Tobe Hooper died. If you don't know who Tobe Hooper is, he is the guy who directed the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Poltergeist, kind of, sort of. Everybody knows it was Steven Spielberg that did it. I mean, he was like there for 2 minutes, and it's like maybe he got Steven Spielberg some coffee. I don't know, but he did some really good films that you have to give him credit for. And yeah, you could eulogize somebody, but I don't know the guy at all. I never met him in my entire life. So I thought maybe I would just reflect on how two of his most notorious movies affected my ass. I don't know how much he had to do with Poltergeist, so I have to put that in there because that was the one of the ones that affected me the most. But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, that's the one I got to go in on. All right, so if anybody's not, especially you millennials who haven't seen the original Texas Chainsaw from 1974, it's still scary as fuck. I don't give a fuck what any of you say. I don't give you say, no, it's not that scary. No, it's kind of old. The old grainy footage makes it fucking frightening. When I was younger, I avoided seeing that movie because I'm a pussy. I swear, God, I didn't want to see it. Like, I wanted to see it. You're curious because you hear a lot about it. But, I was already into the Friday the 13th, the Nightmares on Elm Street. So I started, getting a little full of my shit. Been like, it can't be that bad. I've seen Freddy slash people. I've seen Jason and his mama, put arrows through people's necks and, put axes in faces. Let's just watch this shit. So how it happened was I was at a sleepover, a bunch of friends of mine. What would they be? Enemies? I don't know. I'm just getting the caffeine in me. Forgive me. I was at a sleepover and I think I was about 12 years old. 12. So I wasn't like 5 or anything. I was like 12. By the time I'm like, okay, we're all going to watch this movie. Went to rent some horror movies. We all come back. Yes, millennials rent. It was a long time ago. Go look it up. And put it in the VCR. And I'll never forget because the friend's house that I was at, his sisters were also there and a couple of her friends. It was a weird like co-ed sleepover. Not that like weird or sexual happened, but it was just, I don't know. Not many parents would do that. He kind of had shitty parents now I think about it. Okay, whatever. But we popped that movie in. And I remember from the bit, I begin where they show all the pictures of corpses and shit, just the creepy radio voice, the John Larroquette, the guy from Night Court, who did the following is an account of what happened on a fateful blah 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 day with this, crazy cripple in a wheelchair who annoys everybody and his sister who doesn't know how to run that fast. But it was like, it started, everybody shut, and forget a bunch of 12-year-olds to shut the fuck up. It's a hard thing to do. We weren't talking at all. About halfway into the movie, I think we were all just too afraid to ask somebody else to turn it off because it was fucking horrifying. After the hitchhiker gets picked up and they act, there's a brief lull in there where nothing really happens. But when the girl gets hung on the meat hook and you really don't see much, there's not gore in there really. But at the end, when it was crazy and the girl's screaming like, let me go, and they're doing close-ups of her eyeball like fucking super this close, and they're cutting her finger the dead grandpa or half barely alive grandpa's trying to cut her head off. I was just sitting there trying not to shit on myself. I was just I was fucking horrified by that movie. Horrified. And I think it was more effective because it didn't really have that much blood and guts. But right after I saw it, I was convinced it had. I was like, that was the bloodiest, horrible thing. Oh, God, it was gross. But when I saw it years and years later, you realize there really wasn't anything in it. Now to the Poltergeist controversy. For years, it's been rumored Steven Spielberg directed that movie. And I kind of think it's true. I think Tobe Hooper maybe he had a say-so, or he did a few days of shooting or something. I don't know. But it's got Steven Spielberg written all over it. It's got like E.T. feels, and it's got like, the Suburbia. Steven Spielberg loves Suburbia as much as he loved Holocaust. That's a horrible joke. I'm sorry. What happened to Steven Spielberg doing depressing movies now? He hasn't done one good. What happened to all the Close Encounters, Jaws, and come back. Stop making these fucking horrible, god-awful movies nobody cares about. Like, what was it? Lincoln is his last one? I forgot what his last one was. It was something boring and horrible. He's been boring and horrible for like 2 decades now. Ever since he left Jurassic Park Land, it's boring and horrible. Nobody cares. AI, no one gave a shit. It was just boring and horrible. I'm going to do period pieces now. Oh, that's great. Abandon what you know. You're good at the shit you used to do. Do it. Do more of it. He would have box office smash after box office smash. Getting off topic, I know. But yeah, I thought Tobe Hooper created a real iconic character out of Leatherface with the whole cannibalistic family. And if you ask me, that was the first slasher film. I know people like to go with Peeping Tom and Psycho and all that. But if we're going by the formula of teenagers, check. Picking up a hitchhiker, check. Crazed killer in a mask, check. Final girl, check. it pretty much is the first, like, as we know it, slasher movie. I mean, you can argue Halloween and everything else, but I would say this one was the first one. It was brutal, it was intense, and just for that alone, he deserves, he's legendary. So it just sucks that he's gone. We've lost Craven. We lost a lot of good directors who carried us through decades of really good horror and actually saved horror at some points. Craven. I'm not too familiar with what he did later on, Tobe Hooper, but he's an icon and he needed some recognition, and I'm sure everybody and their mom's going to give it to him, but I thought I should too because I'm a huge horror fan. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original for me, is one of the scariest movies I ever saw, next to The Exorcist. So thanks for the frights. You're going to be missed, and somebody's got to start picking up the reins here. There's a few potentials out there, directors, but like no one's really ran with it yet. I'm starting to get disappointed. Come on, let's get the horror back.